And then he said, it's nice to be breathing in that old dairy air. Because you see, town smells like shit. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, mit Damen und Herren, welcome to Not the Weekly Planet.
It's not.
Nerdy news, geeky gossips, the Big Dumb Cast. My name is Chris Johnson.
My name is Matthew Watson.
Oh, that was good. That sounded like Tim Curry going to vomit. It's quite appropriate, really.
Yeah, very appropriate.
No, I'm going to throw. That was like 90% of his dialogue for the Wild Thornberrys. Elijah. Oh god! And anyone born after 1998 listening to this is going, what?
What?
We're like, uncultured swines. You know that meme you really like? It's from something.
Wild Thornberrys, baby.
Yeah, boy. Back when Nickelodeon's cartoons all had one mission statement: to look really fucking weird.
Yeah.
Regardless of what the story or context was.
Yeah.
They all just looked weird. Cartoon Network had a set style. And if some of theirs were weird, like Cow and Chicken were weird.
Cow and Chicken was really weird.
But like Ed, Edd and Eddy, Dexter's Lab, they all kind of had like a vibe about them.
Go a little further back and you get Rocko's Modern Life.
Oh.
Ren and Stimpy.
I love Rocko's Modern Life. It's great. Yeah, oh my god. Have the heavens just opened or is that a tree?
Sorry, that's just a tree.
In the world of this recording, guys, it is a day where it has been raining, then sunny, then raining, then sunny, then raining, then sunny. And the slightest noise makes me go, oh Christ, I've got to walk in that later.
As a man in his early 30s, it's bothering me because I can't put my washing out.
Oh my god,
I'm so old.
are we old now?
I'm so
Are we old?
old.
Christ.
Are we the baddies?
Could be worse.
Yes.
Could be bothering you because it's making part of one of your limbs slightly achy.
That's true. Yeah. All my limbs are slightly
you ever
achy
broken
all
a
the
bone?
time. I've had my nose broken.
For real?
Yeah.
Is it a story you're happy sharing? Or
Some cunt just pulled a knuckle duster on me while I was on the way home from work.
Jesus
I was only 18 at the time.
Oh my god. Wow.
Looked like a panda for a week.
Oh, so swings and roundabouts.
Yeah.
That's cute in a way. I'm kidding, that's horrible.
Two black eyes.
No, assault is never fun.
Assault is not
Sporadic
fun.
assault is never fun. I've been down that horrific road, probably on the same road.
Possibly.
Yeah. No, I've broken. I think it was never diagnosed. I think I broke a toe 2 years ago. A little toe on my left foot. It was an excruciating pain for ages.
Yeah, toes and fingers are a fucker because they can't really do anything.
Yeah, you just have
Other
to
than
bind
keep
it
it straight.
Well, that's the thing. I was like, this hurts. This really hurts, and it hurts whenever I put pressure on it up and down. So I just like bound it to the next toe.
Yeah.
For a few days, and then for a couple of days I was at home, so I bound it to the next toe with like something flat underneath them just to keep them in place. And then within a couple of weeks, it didn't hurt as bad. But I was like, what the hell did I do for this still to be hurting? And I must have broken it.
Broke it.
And I think I've shattered a bone in my freaking, like, where the ball of your foot is as well earlier this year, because that still on and off gives me jip. What I'm saying is, we are way past our sell-by date.
I'm literally rotting in the package.
And our relics of a bygone era. Which is why this week, to praise the almighty algorithm, we're talking about it, but not that one.
Praise the algorithm!
Praise the sweet YouTube recommend section.
Praise the algorithm!
Feed it the blood of your own innocence. Provide. But yeah, so if you're wondering why the hell the thumbnail is Pennywise, that's why. If you want to know what our thoughts are on It Chapter 2, the brand new release from Warner Brothers, then we'll be talking about that next week. Gives you time to go and see it, folks. However, if you're worried about spoilers for It Chapter 2, maybe don't listen to this.
Yeah.
Because
also maybe don't read the book that came out in 1986.
Yeah, this is the only time I will say this with no sense of irony or piss take. If you're worried about spoilers for It Chapter 2, the movie coming out this week, don't listen to this, because we're talking about the adaptation of the book that came out first, which will undoubtedly share some spoilers. Any other week, I'd take the piss out of that for the exact reason that young Matthew just listed. But this week, I kind of get it. Fine. go away now. But stick around for a little bit, because before we talk about it and our love, question mark, of the 1990 miniseries,
we'll get there.
Our feelings about the 1990 miniseries, dreams, and your worst dream come true. Then, before we get to that, we're going to have a little chink wag about a couple of Top Boy X. But first off, Uncle Terry died.
Yes, this was a sad one.
Terrence Dix, as he was affectionately known from his own mouth. Terrence Dix, for those who don't know, I'll be surprised if you didn't, if someone who listened to this show. Terrence Dix was kind of a profound TV writer in terms of just the amount of work he took on.
Prolific,
that's the one.
Definitely prolific.
Working a lot with the BBC in the 60s, 70s and 80s. Most notably as the script editor and occasional writer... on-off writer for Doctor Who.
Wrote a lot of Doctor Who, that man.
Yeah, a chunk of it. He's one of those writers who wrote a bit, led it, probably wrote a lot more under other people's names.
Yeah, the Terrence Dix and Philip Hinchcliffe era of Who is very highly regarded.
Yeah, and then he went on to contribute stories for years to come. But most importantly, Terrence is the reason why a lot of Doctor Who fans were able to revisit classic stories over the decades. Because, you see, boys and girls, back in our day, there was no such thing as the iPlayer. I mean, back in our day, iPlayer was sticking a cassette in the TV and taping it and then watching it back whenever you wanted.
So it was just tapes.
Or catching the occasional repeat.
Just tapes.
But prior to that, repeats, when there were less channels, boys and girls, repeats were not common at all. They just weren't a thing. They were used very, very rarely. Doctor Who famously only ever had really one repeat season during its original run. That was the 5 Faces of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
In the lead up to the 5 Doctors being broadcast, where they just repeated 5 previous serials, one for each Doctor. So it wasn't even if you want to see it all from the beginning, here it is. Here's a few that we've managed to get hold of in the building to show you.
If you want to see it all from the beginning, too bad, because we fucking lost a bunch of it.
Yeah, but those lost ones included, so many of these stories survived and became known to and beloved by young fans of the show who grew up with it because of the Target novelizations.
Oh, yes.
The majority of which, 80 plus, I believe,
were
written by Terrence Dix. That dude churned out stories. And not only did he churn them out, he wasn't just I'll take the script and adapt it. He was I'll take the script and I will flesh out the scenery. I will add stuff that we couldn't afford to do on the show.
Yeah.
I will do it from the POV of different characters from time to time so that you get more of an in-depth feel about these one-off people that are just in this story, that we never meet them again. I'll expand on sort of the Doctor's lore a tiny little bit through hints and suggestions. Stuff that then writers like the Virgin New Adventures in the 90s leapt onto.
Oh boy, that and the Terrence Dix novelizations and the Abranovich who was the producer at that time? Cartmel, yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of period. People love that shit.
Yeah.
That was the springboard for the New Adventures. And the whole expanded universe that sort of sprung up in the early to mid 90s.
Yeah, the wilderness years. Or as everyone knew it at that point, it's coming back, right?
The Doctor the Wholess years.
The years sans eux. The era sans dérouler.
A universe without the Doctor scarcely bears thinking about.
Yeah, he said it.
Yeah.
He said it. But yeah, Terrence Dix passed away. I don't think as of this recording, I don't think they've announced how he passed.
It probably has something to do with the fact that he was 84.
That is probably very likely. But true, that he's, not one to steer away from controversy in recent years. He's had a few opinions that fans have butted heads with and makers of the show.
He's an 84-year-old man. He was an 84-year-old man. He had his fair share of opinions.
True, but he also never seemed to come at any of this stuff from a petty or argumentative place. It always came from a place of love of the show he invested so much of his creative life in.
Unless you were Eric Saywood and your bloody Cyberman.
Eric Saywood and his bloody Cyberman.
Oh, Terrence Dix shall be missed.
He will. He bloody will.
What more can we say?
And he coined. There was a thread doing the rounds on Twitter that he coined so many phrases we associate with Doctor Who now.
Escape to danger.
Escape to danger. The groaning and wheezing references to the TARDIS, like that being the description of its sound, comes from him frequently using it throughout the targets. Mm-hmm. He's the one who coined the description of John Pertwee as having a strange old young face. Which is, you read that and you go, what? And then you think about it and you go, yeah. Which I then saw reused in one of the BBC books, I can't remember who by, but to describe Matt Smith. And it was like, that suits him too. God damn, a strange old young face. He was the one who sort of frequently referred to the Third Doctor's hair as like a mane of silvery white.
It's more like a cauliflower, really.
Hey, it's a majestic cauliflower.
It is, but that's what...
Take that to the Nut Touch. They could turn that into something that will feed 5,000 for months.
That is what John Pertwee's Doctor's hair was. It was a cauliflower.
Which Tom Baker wanted as a companion.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said I wanted John to return. They said, why would you do that, Tom? You'd have to share the spotlight. I said, no, not fully.
I said,
just the top of him peeping into shot.
Pertwee's barnet.
I want John's scalp. Bring me John's scalp, I said. They said, Tom, my dear.
I'm using that.
Tom, you've gone insane. I said, John, let me use your scalp. And he said, now, steady on, chap.
Steady on.
I'm not willing to give you my scalp unless you negotiate the correct fee.
But I do have a collapsible caravan I can sell you.
He does have a collapsible caravan he can sell him. Watch, I can collapse it in 17 seconds flat. Time me. To his credit, he did collapse it in 17 seconds flat. That is true.
Almost.
Remarkable piece of technology.
Almost as quickly as the British economy. So yes,
satire.
Our
assorted beverages are raised.
Our glasses are raised
in honour of
to Terence Dix,
Uncle Terry,
his legacy, his work, and the family that survives him. Now,
this week's guest, Terence Dix. Come on in, Terence.
Slightly Who-adjacent news. Looks like
we made it.
Peter Capaldi,
Peter Capaldi
of the 12th Doctor fame,
Peter Caprison,
Peter Caprison, throbbing Pete Meat himself. Apparently, he's joining James Gunn's The Suicide Squad.
What the deuce?
Aye. We don't know who as yet.
As of this recording, it's not been announced, but speculation is rife.
Yeah,
a friend of the show, Will Carlisle, has suggested perhaps Hugo Strange. Which I'd be down for, to be honest. I would be completely down for him playing Hugo Strange.
Yeah.
I've seen, I think it was the WarpCon account teased Captain Cold. But one of my favourite predictions I've noticed so far, based solely on the fact that at a convention he attended last week, he had a shaved head.
Yes.
Is Mr. Freeze. Because he's not shaved it completely off, but it's like a number 2 cut, which is very short for Peter Capaldi.
A tight buzz.
And at a number 2, his hair is like shock white at the root. So I would not be surprised if we were going to see some Mr. Freeze.
I wouldn't be surprised by that either, in fact. And also, a bit of news I completely forgot about to bring up last week, which is not only segues from that piece of news, but also leads perfectly into our main topic.
What the deuce?
The Flash has a new director.
Yes, bish.
The new director being Andre Muschietti, fresh off It Chapter 2.
And I know his quote so far that was released was something like, "I'm a horror guy, so I'm going to be bringing some scarier elements to the Flash."
No, I'm a horror guy, but I'm not going to bring them.
Really?
Yeah, he's not going to bring his horror chops to the Flash. It's not that kind of material.
Please do, though. Like, please do to whatever antagonistic force he's up against. One thing that the CW Flash did really well for those first 2 seasons is make their villains really creepy looking and really sinister. Zoom and Reverse Flash in seasons 1 and 2 are creepy as anything. And it works in the show's favour, because they feel like... Yeah, but Barry's fast as sin. He can outrun anything and shoot lightning bolts.
He's
and all
the
that
fastest
stuff.
Barry Allen.
He's the fastest Barry Allen. I'm Barry Allen, the fastest Barry Allen. This series, I'm going to run faster than Barry Allen. But as a result, he's a really positive, really very powerful force to be reckoned with. How do you offset that without just doing another speedster, which is the mistake the CW makes a lot as it goes on?
They should not do another speedster in the movie.
The way to do that is you make your villains unsettling and off-putting, regardless of what the hero's style and look is. Shazam works really bloody well because, yes, Mark Strong as Sivana, but particularly because of the Seven Sins and their design. And any time the villainous stuff is built up in that movie...
That boardroom scene is...
Oh, it's horrifying!
Straight out of a monster movie.
And just that is great because it's regardless of this big shining... Greek god-inspired, Superman character, we can see is super powerful.
Zachary Levi in a muscle suit.
Yeah, which is great. So good. Every time you see the bad guys, you go, oh, no, I'm worried for Shazam. Shazam is going to have a hard time with these guys. Yeah. Simply because of just how creepy they are and how dark and unsettling they appear to be.
I just think that's the wrong approach for The Flash. And this is already a film that's been in such... developmental flux.
You know what? I'm saying it now. I don't think he's going to be the last director attached to this. Because he's number 4 now.
I think.
And the last 2 have both left because Ezra Miller wasn't happy with the direction of the story was about to go into.
I honestly believe that if Andre Machete leaves The Flash is not going to get made.
I hope it doesn't get made. Or they could always joke that, no, it came out. Did you all not see it? I guess it was too quick for you. Oh, dab.
One thing that movie has not had, a quick turnaround.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it would be a waste to not bring some of his strengths into it. Because even Aquaman was, again, directed by a horror director, James Wan. And he brought some of that to it with the trench.
Oh, that trench sequence is so good.
And with some of the way the shots are set up, with meeting with Willem Dafoe's guy. Vulko in the wreckage and stuff like that. Some of those shots are really spooky.
And also just Willem Dafoe.
True.
He's a spooky guy.
True. In fact, hang on, Aquaman horror director. Shazam horror director.
Yes.
Possibly The Flash will have a horror director.
Possibly. At the moment,
just lean into it, guys. Just do it. Make your stories about the bright, colourful, interesting superheroes fighting the really dark, scary things. Make them the... you want to reverse from the dour, grim, dark, overly serious tone of the early films in this series? The way you do that is you make your heroes the heroes kids can imagine beating up the monsters in the closet.
And you do it before Disney beats you to it with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
God damn, I cannot wait for that film. Good lord. I rewatched Endgame last night. And I realised just how excited I am to see Scarlet Witch as a co-lead in the movie. Yeah. Especially when she rocks by the fight. It was the first time Lucy had watched it since the cinema, because I saw it thrice in the cinema, I think. And this was the first time Lou had seen it since her first... It's the second time she'd seen it. Yeah. Once at the theatres, once now. She spent the entire third act, she put down everything she was doing. She was just like, whoa, you go, girl! Yeah. God, T'Challa, get out of there! It was amazing. And you forget how... so well done that third act is that it's pure popcorn.
It's staggering.
It's so simple because it's just good guy's got to get that glove away from bad guy. Bad guy has army. There's your scene, and you're like, okay.
That's how this works now.
And it's so simple and brilliant. And when Wanda rocks up, you feel it. You're like, oh, she is gonna rip you a new arsehole, and she nearly does. And then he chicken shits out and starts firing on
how do I beat this terrifying force of nature? I'm just going to order my fleet to fire on her.
That's all right.
Okay,
that attracts another terrifying force of nature from the stars.
Yay! Power creep, it's real.
There's a great featurette on the Blu-ray as well about essentially the A-Force shot. It's just celebrating the women of Marvel and the idea that there are franchises out there that still only ever have like one or two kind of females on par with the dudes in the action teams or casts or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, we wanted to, obviously we're minus a couple of characters here, but we wanted to get as many of them as possible into this shot, just to be like, you know what? We're, like, because they even say in the featurette, like, we wondered whether it felt like it was a pandered moment, but we wanted to celebrate this. We wanted to celebrate these characters and kind of have a moment to be like, this is cool, right, guys?
Yeah, it's cool.
And it works so well. Works so freaking well. And it made me sad that there isn't an Ant-Man and Wasp film scheduled into the Phase 4 at the moment.
Yeah.
I hope they are in someone else's film at the very least.
That'd be nice.
Because they are so good.
They are so good.
They are so good.
So very good.
And I'd like to see him tackle a Boo Hiss villain. Which would be nice. Because Ghost was spooky, but
you do love a good Boo Hiss villain.
I do love a good Boo Hiss villain. And the MCU has given us some really good layered ones, but like Thanos is still... You get his motivation, you understand it, you don't agree with his execution, nor necessarily the morality of what he's doing, but he still has, like, the chance to be a Boo Hiss villain. Because in the first movie, it's his film, and we see it more from his sort of perspective. In the second film, we get Boo Hiss villain Thanos, when the past self gets involved in the storyline.
Yeah.
Because he's just like, no, we know what's going to happen if he wins, so it's an excuse for them to just make him be this big, scary bad guy. And it's like, yeah, we get the best of both worlds. We get the grey area, complex version in Infinity War. And then he gets, spoiler alert, killed off in Endgame. And then we get the Boo Hiss past version who's got nothing to lose.
Scary Grimace.
This is great. Like Killmonger. Not Killmonger. Yeah, Killmonger. Killmonger, you completely, again, you get it, you understand it. He's an insanely grey area villain. Beautifully played, fantastically written. But he still has those moments where he gets to be Boo Hiss. At that bit where... the Dora Milaje, he's taking out the Dora Milaje, and Nakia and Shuri appear to attack him. And he just turns around and Michael B. Jordan, he just points that machete at them, and he just gives this grin, and he looks like a fucking devil. He's just like, yeah, and the mask just forms on his face, and he starts charging at him, and you're like, oh, we got a Boo Hiss villain moment with him. We get a really, like, nasty, he's the baddie, kick his ass kind of moment. The baddie. Which is really, really cool. Yeah, I like me some Boo Hiss baddies. We all like a good villain, Matt.
We love a villain. Some people even name their stories after the villains.
By Jingo.
Even as inexplicable as that title may lead to being.
Do you think they can feel the segue happening?
Oh man, I can feel the segue happening.
Is this like that moment where you can hear the bus turn in the corner before it arrives at your stop?
It's like heartburn.
No, that's the 18 churros I just force-fed you before I recorded.
Cool. I wondered what that was.
I didn't have any sandwiches. I just had some stale churros.
Still cinnamony though.
Ooh, baby.
Oh.
We're talking about It, guys. We're talking about Stephen
King's It, as it is stylized in the 90s TV adaptation, which is going to be the main focus of this episode, as we head into the second part of the modern update directed by Andre Machete, which is going to be in cinemas the day after we record this.
He's directing The Flash, don't you know?
Oh, apparently so, yeah.
Maybe. Touch wood. So, we are going to see It Chapter 2 as part of a double bill.
Yeah, by the time you hear this, we will have sat through It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2. It Chapter 2 is 2 hours and 45 minutes long.
Yeah. So, we won't get out till next week. But I'm looking forward to it. Despite that mixed reception a couple of weeks ago from the screenings.
It's had mixed reviews.
I'm still excited. I think its strengths will be purely in the same place as some of the strengths of the previous adaptation's second half.
Just this
which
day,
is in the casting.
I've seen a 2-star review from The Guardian, and then I think it was like a 4-star review from Den of Geek. So, people are divided
mixed on it. Yeah. Well, it's kind of treated going on from this point. Spoilers for the book, the TV miniseries, and possibly It Chapter 2.
Yes.
Yeah. It's kind of there's kind of a common problem that the book has sort of less of an issue with.
It's a structural
The miniseries definitely had.
Yeah.
And I can see that being the thing this has in its second half.
Yeah.
Which is ultimately, when separated, the adult portion of the story is not as satisfying as the kid portion of the story, namely in its conclusion.
Yes.
Because the kid thing feels like the fairy tale ending to a scary fairy tale of, they vanquished the beast, but maybe it will come back, so they kept a watchful eye, and they learned things along the way, and they're wonderful, what a happy ending, they overcame the villain. And the adult version is, villain's still there, it's a spider, they're going to push it. They're going to push that spider.
Push the spider over.
Push it right over. And now it's dead, maybe, we'd think. No, it's definitely dead, but it almost feels like an anticlimax because they managed to kill him. If that makes any sense. The notion of we defeated it, but we've got to come back if it comes back, is more of an exciting conclusion than, we killed it, look, here's its heart.
Yeah.
And we're done.
Weird.
And now I'm going to ride a bike down a hill.
Weird.
With my comatose wife on it.
But the more I think about it, and the older I get, the more I see the thematics in it. And I know that some very clever and smart writers think that themes are for 8th grade book reports, but I'm here to say that themes are very important to stories. And what you get with it is you've got this sort of idealised nostalgia sort of driven narrative, and in story nostalgia driven, like it's driven by the characters' nostalgia, sort of idealized version of their encounter with it as children. Not idealized in the sense that it was pleasant, but there is the idea that everything was better because they were children.
Yeah.
Even to the point where it ends better for them. And
Hashtag
ends better
it
for the
ends.
audience. Hashtag it ends. But of course, when you get older, you realise that that is not the case.
Yeah.
To the point that they actually just forget it. They all forget it.
Yeah.
They all forget what happened.
Which I wonder how they're going to tackle that in chapter 2. How they're going to display that. The idea that they've moved on and it's almost like the first one never happened.
I imagine it'll be very similar to how it is in the book and in the TV adaptation, where it's just Mike making the call. Because we know that they've shot new flashback stuff.
Yeah, with the young cast members.
So it wouldn't surprise me if we do get everyone gets a phone call, everyone has a little flashback. Just so you can cement that connection as the audience between who is who.
Yeah. Because that mental lining up of, here's your Billy.
Yeah.
Here's your Benny. Here's your Bev. Here's the other bees. All the bees.
Everyone's bees.
Everyone's bees. Betty Casper.
Bee movie.
Bitchy Toja. Do you remember Bitchy Toja? Yeah. Bike stayed behind.
I'm really looking forward to Bill Hader in chapter 2. I'm just putting that out there.
Who Hader?
Bill Hader.
There we are. See, there we go.
But yeah, so I think it'll be similar to
Where's Is Banley coming along? Where's Banley?
Banley.
We'll wait for him. Banley will show up soon, I'm sure.
I don't know if Banley is coming along. Maybe you'll be like... So... you do get that sense that... in a way, the story is sort of making a comment on itself with the way that it sort of... anticlimactic, because that's what adulthood is. It's a series of anticlimaxes.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
It really is, boys and girls. Maybe that's just the cynic in me, I don't know. I think it's one of those works that you're definitely going to get more out of as you read it at different times in your life.
I think structurally the book is the best way to ingest this story.
Yes.
Because, and not in like the book is better than this or the... Like, just from a point of view of the intertwined storytelling of the book is unique to the book. The TV movie uses it. The TV miniseries does it in episode 1, not so much in episode 2. The interlocking stories, and again, because of adaptation, they make it so that episode 1 ends with the conclusion of the kids' story.
Yes.
So that episode 1 has like a finale aspect to the last 15 minutes.
Yes.
And then episode 2 ends with the adults' confrontation. But because of that, the flashbacks in episode 2 to them as kids are fewer and further between, and are usually just incidental little moments rather than beats that relate directly to Pennywise and the visions and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like the only bit that's sort of left for part 2 really is we finally find out what Eddie and Billy were cycling away from, like why that was happening in a flashback from part 1. It's like Eddie had seen the mummy in the house and it freaked him out, and then they drove off super quick. It's like, oh, okay. All right then.
So odd. Like, okay, so let's get into what's good and bad about the 90s TV movie.
Cons. Let's start on them sweet cons.
I think it's bad. I think it might be bad. And it pains me to say it because nostalgia and the effect that it has, the sort of pop culture effect it's had. But I think it might be bad.
I don't disagree. But I also kind of feel I need to defend it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to take a dump on it because it does have a special place. I think it has a special place in the heart of anyone who likes horror movies in general and has since a young age. Anyone who was conscious of it when it came out.
Yeah.
So like in the early 90s. It's got one of them iconic video shop covers.
Yeah, I mean, I was aware of the cover long before I knew what it was. Because for me, it was one of those things where, again, I would spot it in Blockbuster or when it first got a DVD release. Because it was one of the earlier DVDs from Warner Brothers.
Yeah, in one of those cardboard cases.
Double-sided
DVD, yeah.
And then annoyingly later on, when it got reissued in a plastic case with a new BBFC logo and everything, it was still the same disc. So when I watch it, I have to put one side on and then flip the disc for the second episode.
Well, I feel like that might be because they have a lot of them left over, because I think it might be bad, Chris.
You say that, but
I think it might be bad.
They've obviously shifted some because it got another reissue in 2017.
Well, yeah, of course.
And a few months before the 2017 one came out on Blu-ray in early 2018, it got a Blu-ray release. And I've seen somewhere, I don't know what region, but there is a box set of the two available somewhere, so there must be a deal struck somewhere to allow that to exist.
Yeah. What network was it on? Because it might be Warner Brothers owned.
Could be. I'll have a quick look it up. But that cover is, I mean, that cover's so iconic, I've just straight up ripped it off for our thumbnail this week.
Yeah. I mean, it is... Like, horror VHS artwork is its own sort of art form.
Yeah, and the simpler, the better as well.
But, and the images of creatures and slashers and all that sort of stuff are burned into people's memories. That's what people think of. Poster art and VHS art. But the cover sort of just focuses on what is probably the best thing about the whole production, which is Tim Curry.
Yes, sweet lord, yes.
Oh
god, that tagline as well. The master of horror unleashes everything you were ever afraid of. And underneath that, in hidden white text that you can't see, specifically if everything you're ever afraid of is a clown.
Yeah. If it's a clown and dodgy stop motion. There is some dodgy stop motion in this.
There is, but it is Warner Brothers Television, yeah.
Yeah, so it is
aired on ABC on November 18th and November 20th, 1990.
But I think ABC's Disney now.
It is now, yeah. Originally planning a 4-part, 8-hour series, so it would have been 4 2-hour episodes.
George Romero was attached for a while.
Oh God, yeah. Oh, blimey.
But Tommy Lee Edwards ended up doing it, and Tommy Lee Edwards is notable for his relationship with John Carpenter.
Mm-hmm.
He's worked on a lot of stuff with John Carpenter, most notably the original Halloween. He directed Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, which was the only non-Michael Myers starring entry in that franchise when John Carpenter as producer wanted to pivot it towards an anthology series. Didn't go well. What else has Tommy Lee Edwards directed?
Let me find out. Sorry, I was just very briefly looking up. What do you call it? Jonathan Brandis, who plays the young Bill in it, who we lost in 2003.
Yes.
He's excellent. He's the standout kid of the kids that are cast in this.
And Seth Green's in this, so you know he must be good.
Seth Green's pretty good, as Richie tells you, but it is slightly distracting because you're like...
That's Seth Green.
That's Seth Green. That is Seth motherfucking Green, guys.
You know what I mean? This is 1990s sort of... When it was before he was a name, obviously, because he was still a kid.
He'd been in a fair bit of TV.
He was starting to emerge as a recognisable face.
Tommy Lee Wallace also directed...
Oh, Tommy Lee Wallace, not Tommy Lee Edwards. Sorry.
No, sorry.
Tommy Lee Edwards is an artist.
Tommy Lee Edwards directed Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, Fright Night Part 2.
Oh.
He was the art director on Dark Star.
Oh, yeah. Good job,
and he edited the original Halloween and The Fog.
Yeah.
So he's got quite a bit of the old pedigree when it comes to sort of the smaller scale horror stuff.
Tommy Lee Wallace, not Tommy Lee. Tommy Lee Wallace.
Is he still with us? He is still with us, but he's not working.
No.
Last thing he did was he directed Vampires and Los Muertos.
Again, another sequel to a John Carpenter joint.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. Want to Meet a Stranger, the Flipper TV series. You ever saw that? Flipper.
So, not a super well-known director.
He directed Max Headroom episodes.
Oh, wow.
That's some obscure shit right there.
But he's got horror pedigree, so it's not, out of his wheelhouse.
And it's very... I think it's very well directed. There are some shots especially where it's like, that's impressive as sin. The bit where it's going around the Losers Club at the end of part 1, where they're in the sewer, and they're joining hands and they're basically trying to fight it off by saying, you're not real, we don't believe in this shit.
Yeah.
A good chunk of that is a single shot with stuff happening around them. There's the bit where it moves around to Richie and the werewolf hands just sort of appear over his shoulder and it holds for a moment. That stuff's really nice. And there's some really nice shots using the locales and the sets. When you see when they go into the sewer as kids and George's boat. He's only ever referred to as George in the miniseries.
Georgie.
Yeah, it floats. Apart from when Pennywise says hi to him at the start, he goes, "Hiya, Georgie." He's the only one who says Georgie. But yeah, when the boat's just sort of floating down this one lone little flow of water in the middle of the tunnel. Yeah. It's very slim. The boat just comes down, the shot holds as long as it needs to, because it's like, oh, that's creepy. Holy shit! As it gets closer, you're like, holy shit! That's the boat from when you went missing! Oh my God!
I think the main problem with it is that by virtue of it being a TV production that's just around 3 hours long, all in all?
Yeah. With credits. Those credits are long.
Please no. Please don't. Please don't. Don't feel the need to do that again, Chris. That's better. So I think the issue with it, by virtue of it being, not by virtue, but because it is on network, because it was on network TV, because it's been squashed down, it's kind of been defanged.
Yeah. Henry Bauer's friends, when he's about to knife Benny, Henry Bauer's friends are like, are you sure? They're really hesitant, and then he doesn't do it. Benny kicks him almost as though they're really downplaying the idea to anyone watching. Yeah, what he's about to do is really nasty. So much so that even his friends are saying, that's wrong,
to be fair, they are hesitant in the book.
Yeah, but in this, they almost act like they're about to go, no, I'm not a part of this now.
Yeah.
It's really odd. The epic rock fight is very tame. It feels satisfying in terms of, the way they defend Mike, but, like I say, it doesn't feel like kids smacking each other with chunks of rock.
For something which has a reputation for being so terrifying, it is not.
I'll tell you where it came from.
It came from Tim Curry.
Well, but it came from kids staying up to watch it.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing in America, network television, you can't really get away with swearing, violence. I was watching Kill Bill. I was in Florida in 2012, and I was watching Kill Bill Volume 2. At 1 a.m. I couldn't sleep. I just whacked on the TV, low volume, in the middle of the corner of the room, and Kill Bill Volume 2 was on. And they censored so much.
Oh, yeah.
Not a single swear word was in it. This is at 1 a.m. Network television. It's because the way they do it is they all get a version of something, and it has to be screenable at any time of day.
Well,
so they don't have to worry about
things like the Liar Liar TV edit.
Yeah, oh God. Yeah.
With all sorts of weird, bad dubs and
it means that they can show these movies throughout the day. They can put them on at any time. Like Kill Bill wasn't on at 1 a.m. because it was an adult movie. It was on at 1 a.m. just because that's what was on at 1 a.m. It probably would have also been on at 9 the next morning on the same channel. Like they just show stuff all day long. So as a result, horror that is originated on television does not have a version where it can go as far as it should be able to go.
And the book goes very, very far.
And the first film does a really good job of incorporating
it does it
the
with
gore and the horror and the shock factor of a lot of it.
Immediately with the Georgie sewer scene.
Yeah.
That iconic moment of the book and the TV adaptation.
Yeah.
Is neutered in the TV adaptation by not seeing what happens to Georgie.
Yeah, it is only suggested later, which I only really noticed on this rewatch, actually. You see George one more time stood at the end of the tunnel in part 2, I think? No, part 1. When the kids are there and he's trying to ward them off. Which is weird. No, hang on. No, he's trying to scare them and then he's going to eat them in part 1. In part 2, he's trying to ward them off.
Yeah.
Because Pennywise is a pussy, and we will get into that. You see George at the end of the thing, and he's wearing his raincoat, but one of the arms is empty, and that's the only suggestion you get of what has happened to him, what happened to his body that was found. Because that's it, isn't it? Like in the book, is he completely missing, and they find the arm?
No, in the book.
Yeah,
his arm gets torn off.
He's found without an arm and he bleeds out. Yeah, okay.
In the book you get Bill remembering in sad detail how distraught his father was when their neighbour brought Georgie's body to the house.
Good Lord,
because they'd found him bled out on a piss wet through street.
So he'd just been left there to bleed out.
He'd just been left there to bleed out. One of the neighbours found him, wrapped him up and brought him home, but he was already dead.
God. Yeah, and it's the film adaptation.
In the film adaptation, he quote unquote goes missing, but you see him get his arm torn off and then pulled into the storm drain, which is the
because he rips his arm off, he crawls away without an arm, and then the arms come out of the thing and grab him and pull him into and
it's the earliest indication that this is an adaptation that is not pulling any punches.
Yeah, like the opening scene has a 7-year-old's arm ripped off and eaten. This is horrifying.
Yeah, and you just get the sort of the toothy Tim Curry.
Which is
coming towards the camera.
I will admit,
it's a
creepy image. Yeah.
And there is creepy imagery all over this TV adaptation, but there's nothing viscerally terrifying. There's nothing like
unless you're chlorophobic, in which case you're going to shit your pants.
Yeah.
The majority of part 1, there is a lot of a scary clown in part 1.
There's a lot of scary clown, but there's nothing like particularly grisly moments from the book, something like any of the
girly boy.
Oh God, all the kids' encounters with it are toned down or rewritten completely.
Yeah, I mean Richie's is what's Richie's? Richie's in the book.
Richie's in the book. Richie doesn't see it.
Yeah.
The first time Richie sees it.
Yeah.
Because he is.
Because there's some of the drive-in movie, isn't there?
Oh no! Sorry, there's 2. So Richie is attacked by a gigantic plastic statue of Paul Bunyan.
Yes.
In the book.
Which
again, he doesn't admit to until later on in the book.
We've not seen the film yet.
But the statue's
it looks
there.
Like they're going to touch on that in part 2.
The statue's there in part 1.
Yeah.
And then later on, after this boys start sharing the stories of what's happened to them. This is before Beverly comes along. Then...
Yeah, Beverly's with them almost from the very beginning in the TV series.
Yeah.
Like, they all meet in very quick succession.
Yeah, it's very spread out in the books. It's still over one summer, so it's over the space of 2 weeks where they all meet up, but it feels more spread out. It's more episodic.
Yeah.
Which is why it would have been good as a longer TV series adaptation. And one of the criticisms I've heard about chapter 2, the film, is that it's a bit episodic, but that's partly due to the structure of the source material. So the second time Richie sees it, which is the first time you as a reader see him see it, is when he goes with Bill to the house on Niebolt Street to look for Eddie's leper. Yes. And then they get chased out, which in the miniseries is changed to a mummy. Yes. Yeah, when he's bird watching. Which is Ben's story from the book. Which is also missed out of the movie adaptation. It's also missed out of the movie. But is referenced in the movie adaptation when they're beating the shit out of that clown at the end, and it briefly, when fighting Benny, turns into a mummy and starts to attack him with the bandages. And also Stan is the bird watcher in the book. Yeah. God, they get changed around a lot, don't they? I know the summary for the new one. Mike is now the town librarian. That is in the summary for the new one. That's in the original. And it's like, that's in the original. But in the book, if I remember correctly, Mike was the one who was starting to read up on things more. Planting the idea that he would become the librarian later on. And in the film adaptation, it's given to Benny as his habit. Well, it's his hobby, sorry. It's weird, because Ben is big into the library in the book. Yeah. But he's not, into the local history of the town. Yeah. But in the book, the local history aspect of Mike's story only really comes after they defeat it the first time. Yeah. He gets handed down stories by his dad. Dad, yeah. His parents are alive in the book. Yeah. And he gets told about things like the Black Spot Fire. Is it his grandparents who died in the Black Spot Fire in the book? No, in the book, his dad is one of the few survivors of the Black Spot Fire. Because his dad's the one who saw the big fucking eagle and he saw the bird grabbing people. Yeah. Oh, shit, yeah. For those who don't know, in the book, at one point in the past, Pennywise appears as a giant bird and picks off people during a racist riot on a club. Yeah. But one of the other survivors... A racist riot that he planted through fear and paranoia over the preceding weeks by stoking the racism of the town. One of the other survivors... Because, dude's got to eat, but it's not laying breadcrumbs. One of the other survivors of the Black Spot Fire is Dick Halloran from The Shining. Is that mentioned in it? Yeah. Fucking hell. Oh, God. It's not mentioned in The Shining. The Stephen King cinematic universe, but boys and girls. A young Dick Halloran is the same member of the army unit as Will Hanlon, Mike's dad, and helps him survive the Black Spot Fire. Jesus. In 1930. God damn it, Stephen King. So it's kind of, they've kind of mixed around all the TV adaptation is more faithful to the various kids' interests and hobbies and habits. Yeah. But it doesn't really preserve... So the only sort of first encounter story that the show, that the TV series preserves, and it's also in the film, because it's one of the... It's definitely... the most visually interesting of the various kids' encounters with it. Aye. Is the sink. The one in the bathroom. Beverly with the sink and the blood. And the blood. In the 2017 movie is just ridiculous. Yeah. It's just a fountain of blood. Oh, while she's being held in place by tendrils of dirty hair. And then going back to the TV adaptation after that is very tame. But, I mean, still spooky in the TV adaptation. Because, again, we're talking about the network downplaying things. Beverly's dad in the miniseries is very much just a very possessive father. As opposed to the implied incestuous nature of his... Heavily implied incestuous nature in the 2017 movie, especially. Again, my God. Also in the book, because in the book... They lean on it a little in part 2 of the miniseries, where she talks to Benny about the fact that every man she's ever got with since leaving Derry has basically been her dad. Yeah. And she doesn't know why. And you kind of get the suggestion of, Christ, he really manipulated her from a young age. That she would always circle back to settling with someone like that in her life. But what you get in...
But in the film, it's like, oh God, he's like out and out saying he's disgusted by her looking more like a boy.
But in the book, you get a sense of it from the fact that her mum is still alive.
Yes.
And lives with him.
Oh, yeah.
And there's an exchange with him early on where...
I'd totally forgotten that, yeah.
Where her mother asks Bev if her dad ever touches her. But Bev doesn't know what she means.
Oh, God.
So there's a sense that her mother kind of knows...
That her husband is abusing their daughter.
Or that he's like, has... Not that he is abusing her, but he has... sort of desires down that way.
Yeah.
Because he is very possessive and protective, and there is a certain overbearingness.
Beverly is his property.
Yeah.
And that's how he sees their relationship.
Yeah, I think so. And they take that particular aspect of the story further in the 2017 movie.
Which makes for a much more satisfying bit where she smacks him around the head with the lid of the
Straight
toilet.
up kills him.
Yeah. It's like, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Because in the, correct me if I'm wrong, in the book, as in the miniseries, he passes away in the years she's no longer living in town.
Yeah.
Because she learns of his death when she comes back.
Because then you get that scene where she
goes to the house.
She thinks she
sees Marsh on the buzzer.
Yeah.
She buzzes it. This lady answers, Mrs. Kerr. She looks back at the buzzer and it says Kerr. She's like, oh my God, I must have misread it. And you're like, oh, that's creepy. She goes in. The tea's clearly blood. Her teeth are fucked up. She starts to talk in another person's voice. And then next thing you know, she looks like a shriveled up corpse version of her dad in drag. And then she legs it out the house, turns around, the clown's in the doorway, basically throwing her the finger. And then she turns away to run, turns back, and there's no clown. And the house she's just been inside is boarded up and clearly has not been touched in at least a decade. And it's like, that is spooky as fuck.
That is creepy.
That is damn creepy.
And we know we're getting a version of that scene.
Because we saw it in the first trailer.
It's in the well, it's just like a 2-minute section of that scene.
And then a montage of clips, yeah. And then a montage of like, here's some other stuff that you might want to see. It's chapter 2.
Yeah.
See in September, fuckers.
And that's in the book. Again, like a lot of the most iconic moments.
The opening as well is obviously probably the most. Yeah. I mean, even the book covers. A lot of the covers tend to show something that represents the opening scene in the past with Georgie.
Yes,
my edition's like a. Sorry, I got the hiccups. My edition's like a 2003 edition, and the cover of that is the edge of the sidewalk on a stormy night. The silhouette of the Neibolt house in the background, assuming it's the Neibolt house because it's just a spooky house in the background.
Yeah.
The grid of the sewer, a pair of eyes in the grid, and there's a balloon string.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Balloon string trailing out from it, and then the balloon's on the back cover.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, that's spoopy.
Yeah, Ooh. The storm drain is a common feature. The two most common cover arts you get for the book are the storm drain and the house on Neibolt Street.
Yeah,
the house on Neibolt Street as Pennywise's face is the cover of the hardback my dad used to have.
Oh, I've seen that one. Yeah, it's sort of like an amalgam. Like the house has the clown face within sort of the doors and.
Yeah. I'm gonna find it now.
I've never seen many covers of it out in the wild, flat out with just Pennywise on the front, except for a reissue after the first film came out. I've seen a copy of it. Where it's like the silhouette of him in the dark silhouette of him in that poster.
Yes.
I might have seen at least one cover based on the Tim Curry poster as well.
There is a Bill Skarsgård cover version.
That's cool.
Which is just white with the red
lips and
lips and teeth.
Yeah, that's quite cool. That's nice and downplayed.
Yeah, you get like things like that's the one you mean, isn't it?
No, no, that's mine. There.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's like the late 90s one. Yeah. That's the late 90s one. That.
Ooh. That's the one I remember seeing as a kid. The one with the big red letters. I think that must have been released after the TV movie because that's like the same red letters as the TV film with just a grid and the sailboat on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean
that's a cool one. Damn, there's one that's like a skull with a red nose and blue stars in the eyes.
There are some really, really haunting images in the novel that are maintained in the various adaptations. And
why do none of the books have a cover with a gratuitously detailed, based on a gratuitously detailed description, picture of a can of turtle wax on it? That's what I want to know.
Oh yeah. The turtle. That's an interesting.
True fact. The first 70 pages of the novel "It" are just a description of a can of turtle wax.
It's true.
That is a fact. That is completely a fact. I have to drink this water because my cups are not good.
Yeah, I don't know what you've been doing to yourself. But it. So, one of the things that's not preserved at all in either of the adaptations, as far as I can tell, having not seen it, Chapter 2 yet, is the cosmic nature of it and what is the turtle Maturin the turtle helping the kids, and how that ties into the
Dark Tower
series.
Andy Machete has confirmed Maturin.
That's the cover I saw.
That's cool. That's really spooky.
It's the old. That's probably one of the early edition hardbacks.
Maturin is in Chapter 2, but he refused to say how and how much of it. So,
because
I think Mike's or Bill are going to hotbox and they're going to see a silhouette of a turtle in the stars or something. And that's going to be it.
We mentioned the
unless they go really fucking weird.
Yeah, well, exactly. Well, we mentioned the fact that the ending is slightly anticlimactic, and in that what they've never been able to do so far, and I'll be interested to see how far they go with it in Chapter 2, is getting into sort of the metaphysical nature of that final confrontation.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's basically a battle in the mind between Bill and the entity that wears the face of Pennywise. And sort of a psychic tug of war, almost. And it's not really the kind of thing that you can do on film, at least not in an effective way. And what they do,
surely they could just chuck John Pertwee in front of a fish-eyed lens in a dark room to fight a fishman.
Yeah, quite.
You are battling my will, Doctor.
But it's what you get in the TV adaptation is just a staring contest.
With a spider's balls.
With the underside, the underbelly of a spider. And then they push it over and pull its heart out.
Well, no. No. To be fair, Beverly catapult bullseyes its testicles.
Yeah.
They witness their friend die. And then they chase after the whimpering, injured pussy spider.
That's true.
Push it over, kick it a bit, and rip out its heart.
But again, you feel the restrictions of the network because of how Eddie dies. Because what happens in the book is he jams his hand into the spider's mouth and triggers his inhaler inside it with the belief that it's battery acid, which you do get in the TV adaptation, because when they attack it as kids, he does the same thing. He sprays
battery acid.
Acid juice slime, and then
he sprays it, and it burns his face and gives us
a melty face.
One of the iconic images from the miniseries of a clown with a melting face. And then he does it again in adulthood. He remembers.
Yeah, jams it right in.
I think he just does it in front of him, in front of the spider.
No,
in the miniseries.
In the miniseries, he does. Yeah,
the spider freaks out, so it's like, oh, this still works, and then just grabs him, picks him up, and is clearly going to throw him or eat him. And you never quite see, and then Beverly shoots it, and he drops him. But in the book, he shoves his hand right in the mouth of it and sprays it.
Yeah, and it just bites his arm off.
Yeah.
And again, he bleeds out like Georgie did.
Can we talk about how Pennywise is a massive pussy?
Yeah, okay.
So Pennywise is an ancient cosmic being that this one specifically feeds off flesh, preferably young flesh, and preferably the young flesh of someone who is fucking afraid. For either chemical, spiritual, whatever reasons, that's the tastiest
it's not something he needs
flesh.
to do. It's a stated preference.
Yeah. And he awakes every 27 years, or in the miniseries, every 30 years. He wakes every 27 years. Yeah, because George dies in 60, and they go back in 1990.
Yes.
He
wake.
No, in that he's only just come back up.
Yeah, because he's awake for about 2 to 3 years each stretch. Yeah.
Oh, well, there we are. Well, in that case,
he's cut short
by the kids. That makes sense.
Because one of the cycles he comes back in 1904 when like a lumberjack massacres a bunch of people and then sleeps again, and he is around. And then doesn't go back to sleep again until 1906 when the kitchen ironworks explodes.
Because he's a pussy.
Which again, we don't hear about really in the adaptation.
Oh, yeah, the
in the miniseries. But they talk about it in...
The miniseries the miniseries doesn't touch at all on the idea that he's been there before.
No.
It doesn't touch on it at all.
But they get it right into it in the film because they have Ben learning local history.
Yeah.
And learns about the kitchen ironworks, and he sees the headless boy, which is what they replaced the mummy with,
which is a great freaking visual in the film. That's so creepy.
That's the thing with. I get why they have to replace those. Actually, I don't get why they have to replace a lot of those encounters.
They're all royalty-free public domain designs.
But it's also allows it structurally. You have to move them closer together rather than have characters tell long flashbacks and stuff. I get that.
Yeah.
So, but what the TV miniseries fails to do is it fails to capture the horror of those initial encounters.
Except for when Pennywise shows up, and then it's creepy.
Yeah.
But everything prior to him going like, well, that was fun, I've just been fucking with you.
Like Ben seeing his dad.
Oh, that's eerie.
It's eerie, but it's not scary.
It's scary. I'd forgotten, rewatching it last night, I'd forgotten about the green corpse that starts to crawl out of the water before he cuts back to present day.
Yeah.
That works to make it spooky in part 2 when he goes back there briefly on his arrival and he sees his dad, unquote, stood there where he was 30 years ago in that vision.
Yeah.
But now he is the green corpse. And he's like, we've been waiting for you, son. Where have you been? It's like, oh, that's creepy. That's freaking creepy. But it would have been creepier had we not seen the green corpse before.
Yeah.
Had that been the first time we see it, it'd be like, oh my god, he's pretending that... Like, Pennywise is pretending that Benny's dad's ghost has been stood there just rotting away for 30 years. That's creepy as sin.
But it's creepy as opposed to the idea of, a headless child's corpse
scampering around like a freaking marionette possessed.
In sort of weird jerky stop motion.
Oh god, it's horrible. I love it.
That's a great image.
So Pennywise, he feeds off of fear. Flesh that is full of fear is tastiest to him. It's just what he likes to eat.
Yeah.
The miniseries gets a lot of flack for him never really doing anything to them when they're kids.
Because he doesn't.
But he doesn't,
really.
And it's because of network TV restrictions in part, but it's also, the miniseries, to its credit, in part 2, and at the end of part 1 a little bit, makes a big point as to why. He waits until they're shitting themselves terrified, and then eats them. And part of the reason why he does this is because he likes to it's not just these 7 kids. It's implied that every kid in town at some point will have seen something that freaked them out.
Yeah.
And that he keeps doing it to everybody because eventually he'll get someone so scared that he's like, right, that one's dinner. And he'll go after him and eat them. Or scare him one more time and eat them. George is just a quick snack.
Yeah.
He shits him up very, in that moment and then bites part of him off. Whereas the rest of him, he kind of takes his time. And that's why they've got so many encounters with him.
Georgie's kind of not because the other...
Georgie's sort of too young to really, I guess, grow fearful and paranoid the same way the slightly older kids would be. So with him, it's just boo, haha, chomp. It's like, oh my god. Whereas the rest of him, it's like that slow torment. The fact that he keeps saying to him, like, come back. Like, we all float down here. All these little things. He's basically he's leaving breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
And it sort of it makes you realize because he talks about how like like it makes them taste better and all this. So you're like, you know what? I buy it. It's not just the network restriction. I buy that he isn't killing them every time he meets one of them for the first time.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to build up and make it tastier for himself. But it also highlights how unique this lot are, because in a couple centuries of this happening now on this spot, this is the first group of kids that have actually had the confidence to share their experiences with each other, realise something's wrong, and the first thing they then decide to do is not, right, we need to all leave, it's, well, we've got to stop it. And that's the whole point. It's like, this lot are great. Like, this is an amazing bunch of kids, and that's kind of the point. It's the bonds of friendship and love and believing in each other, which also turns out to be his undoing. That's his weakness. If you don't believe in the shit he's peddling, you're taking away most of what makes him a powerful antagonist.
That tends to be...
He is the Tinkerbell of villains. Like, we don't believe in fairies, and he's like, oh shit, oh, I'm actually not as effective now. I can still physically attack you.
Yeah.
But he is sort of almost at this point powered by his own reputation, powered by his own effect on them.
Yes.
And the less they believe in him, not like, I don't believe you exist, just, fuck off. Like, you're not a werewolf. Piss off. You're not a fucking werewolf. The werewolf's not real. It weakens him to the point where he can be harmed.
Yes.
So when Eddie squirts him with his inhaler and pretends that it's battery acid, it actually harms him. Like it's like, oh fuck, that hurt him, to the point where he retreats. Like he shits himself and he retreats.
I don't think
which the film does a great job on, because I think they were seconds away from possibly smashing his head in once and for all.
Yes.
And that's why he's like, and all that crawl, and he does his little flip into the well and gives that like, and disappears. Because it's like, oh, he's scampering off to die. And it's like, no, he's scampering off because he knows if he leaves it for another 10 seconds, he might actually die.
Yeah.
So he's going to get the fuck out of there, lick his wounds, and then come back when he's good and ready. And it looks like the second film is leaning a little more on him willing for them to be back. Like, it looked, based on the trailer, like the whole, like, for 27 years, I dreamt of you. Like, all that. It's like, oh... It looks like the film Pennywise is like, no, I want you to come back. I'm going to fuck you up so bad.
Revenge for him.
Yeah, whereas in the sequel, in the second episode of the miniseries, and the way I remember it in the book, it seems a little bit more like he's warding them off. He's really tormenting them. Because, of course, as they all start to come back, they start to remember things. And he's doing a lot of like, it's your last chance, kiddo, turn back, and all this. And I think it's because he's fucking terrified that they're going to kill me if they stay here.
And I think you get a better sense of it.
I've accidentally brought them back because one of the bastards stayed behind to keep tabs on me.
Yeah.
And they're going to kill me.
And I think you get a better sense.
And that's why he fucks around with Bill's wife and stuff. Like, he starts to... And why he gets Henry Bowers to go after them.
Well, he does a couple of things.
He's like, I can't hurt him down here, but you can, it's like, oh my god.
And he
Ergo, my theory that Pennywise is a massive pussy.
He is definitely afraid. And you get a better sense of it in the book. He is, why he tries everything he can to break up the group. Well, even further, because Stan doesn't come back.
Spoiler alert, again, we already said that.
But why he tries his hardest to break up the group. I fucking love
that. My first encounter with this story was the miniseries, and when I saw that for the first time, I was like, "Oh God!"
Yeah.
I was like 10, and I was like, "Of course he's killed himself. Of course he has.
It's horrific.
He doesn't want to go back there." And then when I read it, I was like, because I knew it was coming when I was reading it, I was like, "This is horrifying."
There's such a slow build to it in the book, because what makes it even more terrifying in the book is the fact that it describes it's from his wife's perspective.
Yeah,
it describes their lives.
Which the miniseries tries to sort of do a little bit with that moment anyway, the way they play it.
But it's just like having recount, how well their life has got up to this point, to where it eventually ends up. It's just heartbreaking. It's
You get one happy freaking life. They are, and the miniseries really sort of delights in this as a little gag. They are like very sexually active. And it's like they are, you know, because everybody in by the miniseries ages based on the settings, they're all in their mid-40s.
I think so.
Yeah, because it's 30 years later.
Yeah.
So they'd be in the mid to late 40s each.
41, 42.
41, 42.
Around 11. Well, they're supposed to be around 11 or 12.
I think the kids are a little older in the miniseries.
So
I don't think it's 13, said, 14. But they're all about 14, 15-ish. Yeah.
In the book, apart
from Bev and Benny seems to be the youngest in the miniseries because they're not all in the same classes, are they? It's over summer.
They're all supposed to be in the same grade.
Yeah,
but they're not all in the same class.
The only ones I think we see in the same class together are Bev and Benny.
Yeah.
But they're also in the same class as Henry Bowers, who's clearly older than all of them.
He's been kept back.
Oh, there we go.
There is a line in the adaptation about you don't want to get kept back again.
Oh, and the teacher.
But it's a lot clearer in the book where he's been kept back before,
and
the only reason he has to do summer school over this summer.
Yeah.
Or he's going to get kept back again.
Yeah.
And that's just another reason for his dad to kick the shit out of him.
Yeah, which again, missed out of the miniseries entirely.
Yeah.
Like, they don't go into Henry Bowers beyond him being a classic Stephen King bully, i.e., like the bullies you remember from school, but with knives.
Yeah.
Like, oh, God.
His dad's worse in the book because he's not a police officer like he is in the film.
Yeah, which was a nice touch, I thought.
Yeah, like, him sort of abusing his authority.
Yeah.
In the book, he's a farmer, but his farm's failing. He blames a lot of it on Will Hanlon because he's also super racist.
Which is Mike's dad.
Yeah, which is Mike's dad. It has a thing with
who's not in the film.
Who's not in the film.
His granddad's in the film because his parents died in fire.
Yes, not the black spot.
Not
fire,
the black spot, but it's alluding to the black spot in the way it's kind of like their version of it of events. Although the black spot also still did happen in the film because it's mentioned by Benny.
Yes. So he's just like generally abusive to everyone and really, really takes it out on
Henry. Henry Bowers.
Young Henry. Butch Bowers.
Gotta say this, considering the network limitations, the N-word is whipped out 3 times.
Oh yeah, they love that.
In the TV
they
miniseries.
Love that. There are some... Racism is a huge theme of King's work.
So it was because of where he sets the books. It's in a lot of places where there was less sort of progressive attitudes.
Well, Maine is north, so it's generally more progressive than a lot of parts of America. But he's writing either like in the 70s where race was still a hot button issue, but it's sort of always stuck with him. Like there's always some element of racial tension in his work. And I say not always. You don't really get it in his early works like Carrie and The Shining, but you do get it.
I think it's more the thing of he's like, this is still something that happens, so I'm going to highlight it within the books.
Yeah. As he
that people are like, oh, that's gross, so I can be like, yeah, it is, isn't it? Fight against it in real life, dudes.
It tends to be that one of his
King out.
His villainous characters all tend to have a
throws up the peace sign and flies away.
His villainous characters do all tend to have a tendency towards racism.
No, he throws up the peace sign and then leaps stop motion stylely into a small grid in the middle of the floor.
Let it go.
Pennywise is a pussy. Does not mean he cannot be pretty damn entertaining and sinister.
Yeah, I mean,
highlights from the miniseries.
Yeah.
Highlights of the miniseries.
Anytime Tim Curry opens his mouth.
God damn right. The photo album. The 2 photo albums, actually. Because there's the one at the beginning, after George has died.
With a
and
bleeding
Bill's
photo.
looking at it.
Yeah.
And the picture of George. And this is so... Actually, do you know what? This is a scary moment. Where he's looking at the album and the picture of George just winks. And he drops it. And it's so well executed.
Yeah.
He drops it, looks at it. That's the scary bit. What happens next is creepy, but that's scary.
And that's straight out of the book as well.
And because the photo just starts to bleed.
Yeah.
And it like goes all over the book. And that's the first instance you see in the TV miniseries of people not noticing anything weird because his mum and dad come in after he screams. She picks up the book. She's like, "What's wrong?" And he's like, "It's covered in blood." And she's like, "What are you talking about?" And her hands are caked in it, and she can't see it.
But and that's in terms of like plot beats and set pieces, the miniseries adaptation is actually surprisingly, it's more or less all there.
Yeah,
more or less.
The opening's different. The opening is a little girl getting attacked on a lawn, but that's there to establish the idea that
it's
Mike is still in town.
Yes,
and he recognizes what this is. As opposed to obviously the way the book opens, which is with the
attack
the
on
guy
Adrian Mel. Well, it's
Adrian, he's older, isn't he? He's a young adult.
Yeah.
So it's I guess the TV movie's making the point of being like, we're setting up the premise of there's a killer clown that attacks and kills children.
Yeah, going for children.
Whereas the book opens with him attacking and killing an adult.
But also,
so I do get that. But it looks like we're getting a version of that scene though.
Yes,
we are in chapter 2.
But also, as we've said before, faithful adaptations do not good adaptations make.
True. Very true.
So yeah,
very true.
That is a good one, straight from the book.
The other photo album,
yes, this
is freaking terrifying.
Basically, whenever you get Tim Curry monologuing and gurning, is pretty good.
I'll kill you all. I'll drive you crazy, and I'll kill you all. I am every nightmare you've ever had. I am your worst dream come true.
If your worst dreams are clowns.
If your worst dream is a clown in a photo album talking to you. Again, the way that shot is executed is great. Like, they're just looking at a photo, because that's where they start to look briefly at the history of Older Derry.
Yeah.
And that's as far as it goes.
I think that is George's album, though, as well.
Yeah, they look at it, and it's the photo starts to move, Harry Potter style. And there's this clown in the back of the photo who starts to sort of waltz into shot, and then he's waving at people, and then he waves at them. And then he gets nearer the front of the photograph.
Yep.
And then he fucking jumps up the lamppost in a pretty well executed jump scare, actually. Just jumps up the lamppost in the foreground of shot. Starts talking directly to the kids and then reaches out of the book at them. And it's like, oh my god! Which I guess got adapted in the 2017 movie as the slideshow.
The slideshow sequence, yeah. Again, faithful adaptation does not a good adaptation make.
But that moment's pretty damn sweet.
Yes.
It's pretty damn sweet.
That's true.
Oh god, what else with Tim Curry? I mean, everything with him, really. Just the way he delivers the lines. The amount of fun he's clearly having. Like, doing everything he's doing.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
The little bits I really like are the bits where he's just subtly dubbed over another character that they're suggesting is either him or a hallucination he's making people see.
Well, they do it with Ben's dad.
Yeah.
And they do it?
The guy at the gas station when... what's her name? Is it Audra? Yeah, when she pulls up and she's like, excuse me, how far am I from Derry? He's like, it's about 500 yards that way. She's like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah, well, 500 yards to the... what's the opening in the sewer called?
The Barrens?
Yes. 500 yards to the Barrens, where they used to play when they grew up. And as he says that, Tim Curry's voice is also in there. And she sort of looks at him like, right, what? Okay. And then she's going to pull away, and that's when he makes a turn back and he hits her with the deadlights. And then presumably bags her up and takes her to a sewer after a long walk. And
sure, why not?
Pulls her through that tiny hobbit hole door and then turns into a giant spider and then sticks a web into the ceiling.
Another great creepy moment that just reminded me of. Belch getting pulled into the pipe.
That is great.
That's really
good.
That
is really good. Because it's establishing rules within the miniseries condensed version of it all.
Yeah.
Because that's what helps them realise later that he has to be physical to feast. He has to be in a physical form to actually feast. And the clown seems to be like the only recurrent physical thing that is there and tangible.
It's the one he likes the most.
Yeah. So when they go to his home, that's when they see him as a giant spider. They're like, right, he's going to eat in here. We can hurt him because he's real. Even though he makes a point in his creepy little wall projection of being like, you can't... in much cheesier words than this, he basically says, like, you can't fathom what I look like.
Yeah.
It'll drive you mad.
You don't have the effects budget for it.
Yeah, good luck. Turn back now. And it's like, big fucking pussy. You big pussy.
Yeah.
You pussy. He's know that they can kill you.
Everything to get him to scare him off, and it's just not working anymore.
Yeah, because the way the TV movie makes it out to be because of that isn't that what you're seeing is just what their minds can comprehend. It's, no, that's just what he looks like, and he was trying to scare them off with the whole, like, you've driven mad. And he's not wrong entirely. The deadlights do start to drive you mad.
Yeah.
But that's the deadlights in the belly of the giant puppet spider with 6 legs. So technically an insect. Although it does have 2 little human-like arms near its head, so I guess those are also legs.
8 limbs.
8-limbed beast.
Yeah.
A poor man's Edgar. A poor man's Edgar.
It's a poor man's Edgar. Every Edgar is a poor man's Edgar.
It looked like Edgar, but it wasn't Edgar. It's like someone was wearing Edgar.
Like a Edgar suit.
So that's really good. Again, it's establishing the idea of the physical thing, and it starts with the tube where they drag Belch into it, because it gets just the deadlights. He sort of slips into a trance. He gets pulled in backwards.
Yeah,
and his arms and legs like fold outwards as he goes in.
Literally just folds him in half.
It's creepy, but there's not. But what makes it even creepier is there isn't any like cracks or squelches. He just goes in. There's just that overwhelming like whoa,
the sort of pulse of the deadlights.
It goes to the end, and then briefly you see a shot from the entrance of that tunnel where it's burst down it as the light disappears, and you can just see something on top of him.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, that's really horrifying. And then Henry and Stanley are like, right, let's get out of here, because again in that one it's the whole thing of Stanley's the one who gets nearly stabbed up and then nearly eaten. Really emphasising that, he's clearly the one who is not going to go back.
Well, and you also get Henry's hair turned white.
Yes. Well, that's the thing. Like they start to leave, and then the light starts up again and travels down the tunnel, and that's when it gets Henry.
Yeah.
But it's that whole thing of like that stab that sets up the rule that's explained later of it had to become physical in some way to feast, because it ate Belch, and then it came back out. Like, the light dragged him away, and then it was something.
Yeah.
And then the light came back to come for Henry.
And I mean, it's, it's cool, but it ain't no... It's cool and creepy, but it ain't no Patrick Hockstetter attacked by a fridge full of leech flies.
Oh. Shit!
They did Patrick Hockstetter in the film, but it didn't
wasn't leech flies. It was just zombie kids.
Yeah,
and then a balloon popping.
Yeah, which I thought was still quite effective. But
it was cool, but the fridge full of leech flies.
That is a horrifying sequence.
The TV movie does get some nice sort of iconic visuals that are spooky and creepy and unnerving. I think unnerving is the most consistent vibe it has. The Chinese restaurant, like the fortune cookies, that stuff is unnerving.
Yeah.
Especially when you see the last one, Bill's hasn't quite cracked yet, and what looks like sort of a tarantula's legs starts to come out of it.
Yeah.
And that's when they're like, we got to go. And they leave, and it's a nice little hint at later on.
And that's in the book. So
and will hopefully be in the film. We know the Chinese restaurants in the film. The press they've been doing this past week, like the junkets.
Yeah.
The junket sets haven't just been them on a couch in front of a poster. It's been them sat opposite whoever's interviewing them at a table in the Chinese restaurant.
Interesting.
So I'm like, yes, that scene is definitely going to be in the goddamn
movie. They
are
throwing some money at the press for this because they know it's going to do well.
Oh god, yeah.
Or they're hoping it's going to do well. I think it will.
The reveal of Stanley's... the reveal of Stanley's death and then Stanley talking to them a moment later is pretty great in the library. They've left the restaurant, they've all been spooked and freaked out, but they're kind of calming down a bit. Richie and Eddie are still toying with the fact that they're going to go home the next day. This has been nice, but we're not doing this, we're going home.
Yeah.
And Bill and Bev and Mike and... Benny's thinking about it, but he's mostly still like on the thing of possibly staying.
Yeah. Also, can we just say...
But Richie and Eddie calm down and the jokes start flowing and then they get the phone call.
Can we just say John Ritter?
Yes, John Ritter. Yes, we can say John Ritter.
We'll come back to John Ritter. Carry on.
And I'm going to say it. He gets a lot of stick for other stuff and he can be very irritating. But Andy Dick is pretty damn great in this as Eddie.
Yeah, no, I like Andy Dick.
He's believably a tragic, repressed, sad guy who's been held back by his mother for his entire freaking life.
Which is another minor difference from the book. In the book, he's a married man,
but his wife's very much like his mum.
He's basically married his mother in the way that Bev has basically married her father.
Yeah. But I do like that it's the mum in this because they do a really nice job with the actor. Like, she's clearly older. She's clearly old enough to possibly be Andy Dick's mum. But then when you see her in the flashback, it's the same actor, and they only change her slightly, but it's like, no, I believe that is a 30-year difference for that same lady. She's always sort of looked like an older woman, but like in that way where some people are quite young can look like a comedy old person.
Yeah, some people are just born old.
Tommy Lee Jones, for example. Tommy Lee Jones was born a 60-year-old man, and has only got older since.
Like a California raisin.
That's a great description of Tommy Lee Jones. But then, like, the fridge opens, balloons pour out, and Stanley's severed head has a conversation with them and basically just roasts them for a minute.
I watched that scene earlier. That effect holds up quite well. And then it's a simple, like, flatboard and neck appliance.
Yeah,
it's not it's not rocket science. The kind of thing you can do on a TV budget, but it looks quite nice still.
And Eddie, how's your sex life? What's your sex life? It's just like, oh, it's so mean and horrible. Why does it hate? Why is it so mean? Beverly says later on, it's like, that's a bit shit.
Not so keen on Bev in the miniseries.
She's not great. Neither Bev is particularly standout in the miniseries, really. The actors do fine. But you really admire how well Sophia?
I can't...
Sophie Lillis?
I think it's Sophia.
Sophia Lillis, how well she does in that first movie.
She's fucking great in that.
The entire kid cast of the first film are incredible, and I can't wait to see what they contribute to part 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Bev especially, I think, is sort of the breakout of the first movie.
So good.
Followed very closely by Eddie. Jack Dylan Glazer, is that his name?
Is it Jack? It's something Dylan Glazer, yeah. I think it is Jack Dylan Glazer.
He's great. Although don't watch any press of him doing Junket or press for Shazam. Because it's like, I admire you as a performer, but I think you might actually be really irritating. You know what I mean? Where it's one of those where it's like, oh no, what they do in these movies is they've channeled what makes you quite unique and interesting and packaged it, whereas unfiltered, you're really annoying. And Zachary Levi is the patience of a saint. So there's that. But like, but I do like how he taunts them when they're adults in the miniseries. The problem is it's so few and far between. It's just these little moments, but when they happen, they're great.
Well, you've got to fit in a bicycle montage.
Oh, God. But like when Bill arrives into town, and the first thing he does is visits George's grave, because I really hope they do this in the movie, he doesn't remember his younger brother. He doesn't remember George. And they do that really well in the miniseries.
Yeah.
Like, he gets the phone call, and as soon as he's off it, he's like, how could I forget George? Like, how could I forget him? And he realises, like, is something wrong with me? What is this? And the first thing he does when he gets back to Derry is he visits George's grave.
Well,
and he hears a digging sound. And to the right of him, Pennywise has dug up 7 graves.
That's a good image. Again,
one of them.
More of Tim Curry being the MVP.
Because he's like, how you doing, Billy boy?
It's the moment where he
sort of
knocks
his jaw back.
That's great.
And he talks about, like, you should turn back and all that. And then he says, like, oh, there's a place for you here too. And then he's like, well, not that one. That one's already taken. And one of the 7 graves is already filled with a cross stuck into it. And then, like, he sees it and he goes, like, I'm not afraid of you. And Pennywise, like, laughs. He turns away, turns back, and there's none of it's there.
Yeah.
But then when he's catching up with Mike later, he starts to talk about it, and you realise, again, through just the subtlety of the performances in that moment, he doesn't remember that he's just seen him. He does not remember that he's just seen Pennywise. Because he's talking to Mike, he's saying, like, I think I remember what you're talking about. Something about a clown. And it's like, oh my God, how potent is this, like, this curse of Derry?
I don't think...
He's just seen him, and now he's forgotten him.
I don't think that's intentional. I think that's just poor editing.
Maybe. But it works. It really works as a creepy aspect. Because it's only later on, when they're around the dinner table, like halfway through the meeting dinner, is when Eddie suddenly remembers, oh, yeah, there was a clown. Like, he suddenly remembers that he knows there's something, but he only remembers he's a clown when one of them says Pennywise. He's like, oh god, and he starts to hyperventilate and freak out because he can now picture him. And it's like, oh,
yeah, that's rough.
That stuff's creepy. The way he taunts Richie in the library is brilliant. Which is my favourite line to quote from the whole thing. Excuse me.
We know.
Do you have the camera? It's great. That scene is wonderful. Also,
it is
the covers to all of Bill Denborough's books and the titles, but especially the covers coupled with them, are all references to stuff from his childhood that he obviously doesn't quite remember.
Yes. And again, that's something that is...
Yeah.
It's played on more in the book.
They give it like a moment of visual lip service in the film, in the TV series, but they don't dwell on it. But he just sort of is looking at the stuff for a moment. And there's no music sting, there's no like, wait a minute, or anything like that. It's just there, but you look at all the covers and you're like, right, well, that's the Deadlights. Right, well, that's the house on Newbolt Street.
Yeah.
That is definitely inspired by a fucking clown being involved in some way. Like, oh my god, Bill, you don't even realise, dude!
Oh my god, the main character of this story is a novelist.
Oh god,
in a Stephen
he looks like
King
Stephen King
story.
with a ponytail in this version for some reason.
The ponytail is really upsetting.
It is. A lot of the styles are really
as a
upsetting.
man with a ponytail, that is an upsetting ponytail.
It's because you don't have a giant sweeping ponytail that looks incidental. That's the worst kind of ponytail. The kind of ponytail where you're like, you don't need that. The way you're wearing that, I could just snip that off and you'd instantly look better.
I think he's balding in the book. I don't think he has the ponytail.
Probs. Now he's McAvoy. Now he's salt and peppering.
Yes.
McAvoy. I hope, I've not seen enough footage to know whether or not they have, but I hope they don't do what they do with McAvoy in a lot of films and like dye his hair and stuff. Because when you see him on junkets, his salt and pepper hair and beard fucking suits him.
I don't think he's got a beard in this.
He's got like a bit of 5 o'clock going on, hasn't he? But I mean, like his hair.
They'll all have a bit of 5 o'clock going on by the end of it.
His natural hair, even Bev. His natural hair is salt and pepper, and dude, you look tasty. Don't change it. Definitely don't go bald ever again for any role. Because whatever you do, the films just get steadily worse. So it's an omen. God. It's a goddamn omen. When he's taunting Richie, my favourite is when he taunts Benny. Because that's horrible. Bev comes to the hotel room.
So
Bev comes to his hotel room.
It's so camp though.
Yeah. Oh, it's camp as Christmas. Bev comes to his hotel room, and the thing is, he's doing it. It's sinister because he's doing it to distract Ben, like from the fact that one room over, Mike is being attacked by Henry Bowers.
Good old Henry Bowers.
Like he's doing it to distract him. And it's like, oh, that's actually really horrible. But Bev comes into Benny's room and is like, I've been wanting to talk to you about something for a while. Like, since we got all met up last night, I've wanted to talk to you about something. And she starts to quote the poem, and it's the first time that gets brought up in the second half.
Yeah.
And she's like, it was you, wasn't it? And he's like, I thought you thought it was Mike. And she's like, no, I always knew it was you deep down. They kind of have a moment. Bill, sorry, yeah. They kind of have a moment. And then they start kissing and making out. And then they embrace. And Benny looks in the mirror, and he looks at the back of Bev, and from the waist down, she's in giant yellow fucking trousers with big red clown shoes. And he backs away, and you just see Pennywise, makeup smeared all down his mouth, going, "Kiss me, fat boy!" And it's like, this is brilliant and hilarious, and only slightly creepy. It's way more funny than it is creepy. But he backs away and what's it? John Ritter has got like massive red and white makeup smeared.
No, when he looks
in
in the mirror, he's got the red and white on his face.
Yeah, he's got it there, and he has it in that next shot.
Yeah.
And then he looks back, and Pennywise laughs at him, and he runs to the door, and he turns back. Pennywise is gone, and it cuts back to Benny, and there's no makeup on his face. And he sort of like rubs his face, and he's like, that stuff's edited really well. I like how he starts to fuck with him.
Yeah.
Because then it adds that really nice moment in the next scene where she's actually trying to have a moment with him, and he's like, "Damn it, Bevis, it's you're the clown."
You're the clown.
And it's melodramatic, but you're like, "No, I totally see why you're melodramatic. I totally see why you're paranoid. Like you just made out with an evil clown.
Yeah,
like of course you're paranoid.
You made out with an evil clown, and you enjoyed it.
Yeah,
leather waistcoat.
You fucked that clown. You fuck that clown. You fuck Pennywise.
Leather waistcoat and all the fucking denim in the wardrobe.
Oh, crap, but you bet your fur and he's wearing all the denim in the wardrobe.
Fur, you bet your fur.
It says fur in the thing.
Fur.
Oh, you bet your fur.
You bet your fur.
We used to say that when we were kids. You bet your fur.
You bet your
He
fur.
refers to himself as he used to be a real butterball.
He did.
And it's like, all right, you're currently trying to have sex with this woman. Maybe stop telling her about how you were a fat boy as a child. I'm sure that's not the most erotic thing you could be presented to her.
Dialogue that they've taken straight from the book that works better in the book, because in the book he's delivering it to his the bartender at his weekend regular.
Yeah.
After he's in the midst of downing an entire stein of whiskey.
The movie shorthand, of course, here being we want to show that he's successful.
He's successful and playboy.
All that, yeah.
He's successful in the book, but the playboy element's not there.
Yeah. It's a lot of the setups are a little samey in that here they are, they're doing really well financially, and here's this one, they're doing really well financially. They're all sort of either heads of companies or projects or co-heads of an organisation.
It's
like Eddie runs if I remember correctly, the TV series doesn't explain this. But you see him drive away one of them. In the book, Eddie co-runs a limousine company.
Yeah.
And I only remembered this because in the miniseries, he leaves the house, like saying to his mum, he's going, I've got to go back to Terry. It's a really weird line delivery. And he gets in a car and it cuts to the guy in the front. He's like, well, Eddie, what's with the rush? And he's like, oh, I've got to go, just go. And it's like, okay. So, are they friends or something? And they pull away. And the shot like fully pulls out. And it's like, it's a limo. Why is it a limo?
Because it was a limo in the book.
What the heck? And then it hit me. I was like,
yeah.
Oh shit! Oh yeah, he ran a limo company. Okay. Benny's an architect.
Ben's an architect. Bill's a novelist.
Bill's a novelist and currently co-screenwriter on a film
adaptation of one of his books.
Yeah.
Stan is...
It's so weirdly transparent, made even
right?
more so by the fact that they make him look like Stephen King but with a ponytail. It's really weird. It's really freaking weird. Although credit to them, they give both Bills the mole that the old director has got on his cheek.
Yeah, I suppose.
He's got like a little mole on his cheek.
Stan's an accountant.
Stan is an accountant and getting laid every night with his wife.
Indeed.
He's a horny accountant. He's an accountant who's sexually gratified. They don't exist.
Well, we'll get to that in a sec. Bev is a fashion
crunch
designer.
Something more than numbers.
Bev
is fashion designer, and I can't remember if this is the case in the book, with her partner. She's married in the book, isn't she?
Yes.
In this, they're not married.
They're not married, but they are business partners.
Yeah.
In both.
Yeah. But he's very much the let me do all the talking, you're just a pretty face.
Because he's rampantly misogynistic and incredibly abusive. Eddie owns a limo firm and Richie is a radio DJ known for his comic voices in the book. And he's a stand-up comedian in the
They're going back to the DJ for the film, I believe. He's a DJ. I think it works as a shorthand again for the miniseries. It's just like here he is. He's a successful comedy performer, and all that yakking around he did as a kid has worked out, and it's become his profession.
And still racially insensitive.
Yeah. But that's how it goes, isn't it? That's how it goes.
Again, they're making more of a thing of it in the books. The idea that all of them went on to be successful after they left.
Yeah. And the only one who hasn't...
Almost as a way to get them to not come back.
I'd never thought of it that way, actually.
But also...
Like, the way the cosmos has sort of lent has been toward, like, giving them a reason... No reason to ever return.
And even though some of them are married, they've never been able to have children. Which they go into with Stan.
Yeah, and they do
because they've actively been trying to have children and are frustrated that they can't.
They touch on that, not Stan specifically, but they touch on that in the miniseries.
Yeah.
That the reason they've never... Like, they start to suspect the reason they've never had kids is because they don't want to bring their kids into the world where this sort of shit is happening.
Yeah.
But there is... It's like, just on a biological, psychological level, their body's going, are you fucking kidding me? You want to create food for the clown?
Yeah.
Don't do it.
But there is the implication that their success after they leave Derry.
Because Mike at the end is like, several weeks now. Because Mike's like, I only remember everything that happened in the last few months because I wrote it down in this diary.
Yeah.
And he's like, a week later, Benny and Bev moved in with each other. 2 weeks later, they got married. And a month later, she's pregnant with their first child. You're like, that's one of the curses of Derry broken. You're like, fuck, they did that quickly, didn't they?
Well,
we just met up again.
In the book,
shall we have a family?
In the book, they just drive off together.
Yeah. Whereas then it's like,
because everyone starts...
It's a network TV ending.
Because everyone starts forgetting again. And they're going to remember who each other are.
Oh, God.
Because even Mike starts forgetting in the end.
Yeah, which again, the miniseries touches on the book he's kept, which we visit occasionally throughout the second half.
Yeah.
The book he's kept is the only reason he remembers it. And he remembers them. And it's the thing that reminds him to call them and see how they're doing. I think the notion being that over time they're probably all now going to stay. I say all. The 4 living ones are probably now all going to stay in touch. Oh, 5 living ones. 5 of them alive.
I think it implies as well. I can't remember if it's been so long since I've read the book, but I think he says as he's writing the last entry that you read in the book that the book's fading. Like the words. Yeah. So not only is his memory fading, but everything he's written is fading as well. I can't remember if that's the case. Some spooky cosmic shit. Yeah. Spooky cosmic shit that is part of the kind of the dark, foreboding tone that exists across the whole version of it, be it the book, be it the miniseries. The idea that, like, we are bearing witness to something that the cosmos is like, this should be forgotten. At first, because it's part of, like, the curse, as it were, but, like, now that he's dead... It's almost like the universe is correcting itself by going, there's no need to dwell on this anymore. No. Like, you're going to drive yourself insane if you try and figure out what the hell all that was about. And you know what, I think the miniseries adaptation fails in the biggest way by not leaning into that enough. It's not dark enough. Yeah, again, could be because of the network lean to make it doesn't look dark drama. Enough. It looks too bright. It's too much of a TV production. Yeah. Shit, yeah. Down to the Pennywise design. I think there's only like 2 scenes at night time even. The Pennywise design is iconic. But it's too fucking bright. He definitely looks more like a clown that would attract the attention of a child in the miniseries. But it should be a silver suit with big orange buttons. That's how it's described in the book, isn't it? Yeah, that's how it's described in the book. Silver suit, big orange buttons. And they do a neat approximation of that in the 2017 film, like the sort of Victorian fairground clown kind of outfit that's faded to like a grey, silvery colour, and his buttons are definitely sort of like a red to match his face paint. What they don't do in either adaptation is they don't have it so that the silver and orange motif carries over into each of his forms. Yeah. Like the leper. Yeah. The leper in the book is wearing the clown suit under his, like, filth encrusted jacket. And the bird that Mike sees has silver plumage and it has orange spots on its tongue. Ew. Stuff like that. Because they briefly do it in the miniseries when Benny's the vision of Benny's father standing near the Barrens, calling to him with every successive shot back to him, like he has a couple more of the pom-poms on the jacket. First he's holding the balloons, then he has the pom-poms. And then the next time he looks back, it's just straight up PW. Straight up Pussy Willow the Clown. P-Winnie. P-Wids. But I have a soft spot for it, but I think it's bad. How dare you make an accurate assumption? I can't, in all good faith, suggest that someone in this day and age who has not seen it search it out. I can't. Because it's bad. And that's... But enjoyable. It's iconic. I'm trying to find some... and it's campy fun. Fan interpretations of the book design. But it is bad. It is bad. Here's one that's on Tumblr, apparently, by Alien Rat. That's an interpretation of the book design. Sort of got spots above his eyes, which kind of Get hit at the
into
spider.
The spider, yeah, which is not too bad. He's a little sort of creepy clowny there, which, you know, Bill Skarsgård one is definitely creepy clowny.
I think all the balloons are red in the book as well.
Yeah, there's a depiction of him as the mummy. So there's a clown outfit with the mummy arms and head.
Oh, long arms. That's creepy.
It's proper spoopy.
But yeah, you get a point of view chapter in the book from one of the kids who's murdered, and he comes as the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah.
Crawls out of the canal as the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Which is, I guess, hinted at in the miniseries with the green corpse climbing out of the thing.
That's a shout for that.
And I'm trying to see if there's any...
But you do get that character.
How many book-accurate versions? God, there's fan art of the current one.
Yeah, of course there is.
But, like, in a spoopy way.
Spoopy.
Oh, it's Uncle Theo from Goosebumps, but that's just popped up.
Yeah, that's neat.
That's creepy.
Scary clowns.
As one does.
Love scary clowns.
Oh, there's a Jack in the Box that I think it's Sideshow Mezco's made.
Oh, yeah.
That's spooky as sin. Oh, good lord.
Scary, very scary.
I want to see some book accurate imagery, folks. Come on, internet. You're not all just copying and pasting the same pictures. There's one. There's a sketch.
Ooh.
A little plain, but still kind of cool.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, meets.
But tomorrow, Chris,
comedy meets.
Tomorrow, as we're recording this, and by the time you hear this,
gentle listener,
we will have seen It Chapter 2. So, what are you hoping for in It Chapter 2, Chris? What are you hoping for?
I'm hoping...
Are there any moments that the adaptation mishandled or that weren't done at all that you want to see in the
miniseries?
Mishandled in the miniseries or not adapted at all that you want to see in Chapter 2?
The one thing because I love the cast for this film. I'm in love with the aesthetic and tone that the first one gave us.
Yeah.
So... more of a focus on those things like they did in the first is great. The one thing I'm looking forward to the miniseries did not do, hotbox Maturin, like
the weird cosmic shit.
Even if we don't flat out explain it,
I would like to see
delve into it to the point where you make it clear to your audience that Pennywise is a cosmic space being that should not be here, and you need to kill it. Because if it was where it was meant to be, something else would have dealt with it. And they can't help you. Like, just do that. Give us that enough of that, like... Because the first film doesn't make any point of, this is a... Because in the most basic terms, Pennywise is a space alien.
Dimensional alien.
Alright, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Just saying.
The space between spaces.
He's a creature from outside our universe.
So an alien?
Yeah, but a dimensional alien.
A killer clown from outer space?
Yeah, he's a killer clown from outer space, but with a C.
Oh. That's bad news.
Has to avoid...
I don't wish that on anyone.
Has to avoid problems with the Chiodo brothers. Legally distinct sea clown.
Give me Maturin. And even if they don't do the same, give me some giant spider action somewhere. Just because I want to see their version of it.
There'll be some sort of creature.
It was suggested in the first one.
Yeah. When
he was attacking him, and at one point he sort of sprouted like insectoid legs and started stabbing the ground.
Limb blades.
Yeah, give us a bit of that. How about you? What wasn't in the miniseries that you want to see, and just overall, what are your hopes for it?
I want to see the storm that tears the town apart.
Aye.
Which happens in the wake of its death. Because there is that implication that it is so intrinsically linked to Derry and what makes Derry and the fibre of the town.
It is Derry.
Its death sort of warps the town.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that I'd like to see a bit more of that. I would like to see... I don't know if we see it in the miniseries. I don't remember it, but I'd like to see the eggs.
We don't see the eggs in the miniseries.
I'd like to see the eggs and the implication that there could be more of
this thing. Should it desire to
yeah
to incubate said eggs. I hope we don't see that in the movie, actually. Because I don't want people to start writing think pieces for months on end going, there could be a sequel. Yeah. Or show it, but fucking burn them. Like, show them being destroyed.
In the book is...
But, like, I mean a prolonged, unnecessarily unedited shot of them burning down to the last ember so that any bastard out there writing for Den of Geek or whatever will have to go... Right, we can't write maybe sequel. But you just know some lazy bastard will write a two A4 piece where only 3 paragraphs are original, and those 3 paragraphs will be, well, we saw those eggs destroyed, but what's not to say there aren't more eggs?
Yeah.
Easter egg suggests sequel. Andrea Machete's already pointed out, he said, if I did another, it would be a prequel. It would not be about the kids. It would be about Derry in a different time. And it would probably be developing on some stuff we're going to see in this part. So it's like, sure, my suggestion is, don't do any follow-ups.
No.
Of any kind.
No.
If you want to make more money from this franchise, just do what you're doing on this Thursday night. And at some point in the future, maybe when the Blu-ray's coming out, re-release both parts in cinemas and make an event of it.
I read in the Den of Geek review today, there is going to be a director's cut of Chapter 2.
Okay.
It's going to be 4 hours long.
Okay. Sure. As long as it's an option.
So
as long as the release is theatrical cut or director's cut, you pick and you watch. Fine.
If that article is correct, and I haven't seen this anywhere else, so I'm not sure, but if that review is correct, then there is a 4-hour cut of Chapter 2 floating around.
Sure. Sure.
With footage that may or may not all be getting reinstated for a home release.
Sure. Can't judge yet, but I've liked what I've seen so far. And
a 4-hour long horror movie, though, that is...
Yeah, but it's still shorter than watching an extended Lord of the Rings film.
That's true.
Which are enjoyable, but very long.
Lord of the Rings is not a horror movie. I think that's the
I don't know. Depends on if you have a phobia of slow motion scenes of people going, Gandalf, and hugging in a bed. And then again, you've seen the Shelob sequence, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I
can imagine you enjoyed that. Also, Peter Jackson has a bit of a horror nut at art, so...
I've not watched Brain Dead in forever. Is it Brain Dead? It had 2 titles, didn't it?
Do it. Dead Alive or Brain Dead.
Yeah.
Depending on your region.
Yeah. I have a vivid memory of watching that when I was younger. Specifically just the lawnmower bit.
Mm-hmm. Oof. The Frighteners is also great. Bit funnier, but it's great.
I am apparently a rare beast.
You don't like the Frighteners?
I don't like the Frighteners.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
And I think it's the script that kills it for me, weirdly. It feels like it has to keep making jokes and the sides in certain scenes where I'm like, no, dwell on how creepy this is. Dwell on it.
That's rich coming from you, Johnson.
It's true. But I don't talk to the CGI dead.
That's true.
The green screened in dead.
No, you only talk to the real dead.
That's true. I have problems.
So yes, It Chapter 2, I'm excited. I don't want no sequel bait. I just want Losers Club for 4 hours.
I just want Bill Hader not being able to make a scared face. Have you seen all of his interviews and press earlier this year?
He says that, but the footage we've seen, I think he's going to acquit himself well.
Earlier this year, I think he was talking about Barry season 3? 2?
There's only 2 seasons out. I don't know if it's on
So it was season 2, then he was doing interviews for Junket for season 2, like doing the talk shows. And amongst every chat show host, inevitably is like, right, so you're doing it. Like, you shot it. And he's like, in certain ones, he's like, yeah, I'm nearly finished. Or he's like, yeah, and I've done my part now. And they're like, what's that like? And he keeps bringing up, he's so infectiously giggly. He's adorable. But he keeps bringing up that he can't do scared acting. And it's something he hasn't realised yet until making this movie. Because he's never, up to this point, had to do, like, legit scared acting before. But the way he describes it, I think it's on Seth Meyers, he's like, and go. It's like, oh God, guys, it's Pennywise. God, we need to go, guys. Because he's realised that when he's frightened, genuinely,
he just smiles.
He sort of is like, like smiling, you're going, And that translated into the film, and he's like, Andy's like stopping takes, going, okay, we do that again, Bill. Can you look scared? And he's like, I was.
I was terrified.
Skarsgård looks horrifying. Like, I'm actually scared of him. But it's like, yeah, but you're smiling. Oh, right. Okay. So I'll be playing Where's Wally with Bill Hader's smile during inappropriately non-smiley scenes.
I love it. I love it.
Do you know what else I love?
What?
You lot. BigDamnContact@gmail.com. Let us know what you thought of It Chapter 2. We're giving our spoiler-filled review and discussing it next week.
Yes.
If you've seen the mini-series and you want to shoot the shit about that, we'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
It's pretty bad, right?
Is your refrigerator running? It is? Well, you better go out and catch it.
I like it, but I think it's bad, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, I think it is.
Is it?
It is.
It ends.
It's it.
At Big Damn Cast on Twitter. You can also catch Big Damn Stream on twitch.tv/BigDamnStream Mondays and Friday evenings from 9 p.m. Matt will be roughly 9 p.m.
Yes.
Keep an eye on the Twitter.
Friday's going to be in flux for a bit. There's going to be a stream on Friday, but the time is going to be in flux for a bit. But Monday's going to be 9 p.m. Yeah.
Defo Monday. Adventures in Backlogging is back. Can Matt survive entire playthroughs of old games? Only if they're good.
I don't think I'm going to do any full playthroughs for a bit. I think I'm going to see a bit of variety in there for a while.
The Guest Bleed stream was bloody funny.
Oh, man.
So there's that. Wednesdays, you can also catch on Big Damn Stream via Big Damn Stream the Wednesday night weekly Warframe from Matt and Cakes. I'll be streaming sporadically over the next week or two. With various bits and pieces. If you want to see if I've learned how to parry on Contest of Champions, you moaning bastard, you can find out. Spoiler alert, I haven't. And also, hit us up here on the YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, wherever you get your podcast nonsense from.
All that good shit.
And keep your eyes peeled on Twitter. We've got some news in the next week. So, till then,
gentle listener,
do you have Prince Albert in a can? And well, never let poor guy out. Beep, beep, Richie!